Not every day feels like the most amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! We all go through our rough times. What I like to do to prevent the rest of my day from being ruined is chill out with my dog. Come here, girl. Oh, you such a good girl. Yes, you such a good girl. Miss Saber's such a good girl. You a good girl. Yes, you are. I know it can be rough, especially during this time of the year. What I want you to do is to find your inner peace and do not let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. What's going on with ya, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal, but if it isn't, just listen to what I said at the beginning of the video and don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Now, as you guys should already know, it is Friday. And normally I would upload a dual challenge video, but it's unfortunate for me to say that it ain't happening today. I'm having just a few technical difficulties with Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Challenge. I will be uploading it tomorrow, so just sit back, my man, and enjoy the festivities for today. What I have for today is a Board Breakers tier list, but I also will be streaming on Twitch at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope to see you there. In this particular tier list, I'm going to be giving you what I think are the most powerful board-breaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, all the way down to, oh no, what are you doing, baby? Right here, I have goated the most versatile board breaker Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards right there. Next is Sauce. These are the next best thing and are good in most situations, just aren't as flexible as goated. In the right situation is exactly what it sounds like. These cards are really good, but are fairly situational from time to time. Maybe it's the deck or the situation, the deck that you have to play against. Could be better it ain't bad, but it could be a better card. And then of course, the last one you should already know, Arby's tier, also known as Oh No, What Are You Doing, Baby? Hey, I am gonna say it again. If you like meat in your mouth, you like meat in your mouth. I am not here to judge you if you're here to defend Arby's. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about where I think these cards are. Alpha Master of the Beast is actually a really powerful card. It can special summon itself to the side of the field as long as your opponent has monsters with the attack higher than yours. This card is actually incredible. It is a Sauce Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. It is stronger than some of the most Omni-Negate cards like Better on the Floor and Totally Awesome right now. So you could just summon it to attack over it, especially since most people are putting Better on the Floor in defense. And then it can address the rest of your opponent's board by balancing itself and getting rid of your opponent's cards. I think that this is easily one of the best cards in the game. It only gets better if you're playing it with a deck like Scareclaw or Tri-Brigade. Book of Lunar Eclipse or Book of Eclipse or Book of Solar Eclipse. The book card. To be honest, there's way too many books in Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's be real, guys. This one flips all monsters on the field face down, and then during the end phase, they get face up, and then your opponent will draw a card. Players in the OCG have been using this to be able to deal with Kashtira, and while Kashtira isn't as big as a threat, it's actually a pretty good card to prevent Sprite from special summoning multiple level 2 monsters. It can adjust most tier limit decks that don't play cards like Better on the Floor. It's actually a solid card, but I'm gonna have to put it in the right situation. The reason why I put it in the right situation is because this Yu-Gi-Oh! Format isn't just tier limit and Sprite. On top of that, tier limit players have been known to play Better on the Floor, and then Sprite players summon Totally Awesome, and you don't want to give this to them. Book of Eclipse can be fairly good in the right situation, just like how it can be mediocre. I gotta say the same for Change of Heart. If I were to put it on this particular tier list in the right situation, this card is amazing at snatching your bitch. I'll walk up to your girl and be like, hey, and she be like, I got a boyfriend. And I'll be like, Change your heart. That's right, I'm using Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards to steal your girl, and meanwhile, she don't even know you play Yu-Gi-Oh! Change your heart is incredibly good if your deck plays a ton of monsters that can use that particular monster, whether it's for a link or a fusion and whatnot, and is terrible against Totally Awesome and doesn't really work as much against Better on the Floor. Cosmic Cyclone, guys. To be honest right now, Cosmic Cyclone is pretty good. It allows you to be able to banish cards on the field and can be activated during any phase. A lot of times if you're going against a deck like Flu Under Reach, you want to use this Cosmic Cyclone before you enter your main phase, and then it can also get over tier limit spells and trap cards and prevent them from gaining their effects. It destroys cards like Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos, in case you are wondering. It's just overall a solid Yu-Gi-Oh! Card. Now you may wonder exactly why Cyber Dragon is in this Board Breakers tier list. Well, the reason why is because you can summon a Cyber Dragon, and if your opponent is playing a machine deck, you can make Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. Also, if your opponent is playing an important monster in the extra monster zone, you can make Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. I would say right now, this is, oh no, what are you doing, baby? This card is good at being able to get rid of cards like Sprite Elf, but I mean, that's kind of like where we stop, right? It's really weird right now because a lot of decks are not playing Lynx, but then there's decks like Scareclaw, which this card would be extremely good against, but I mean, I guess there's better options on this tier list. Dark Hole has seen a rise in popularity because of Mystic Mine, being able to destroy your own monsters to out the Mystic Mine as well as your opponents, putting us both at 0, but is actually sustained in popularity because destroying your own monsters could actually be beneficial. Being able to destroy your own tier limit monsters to trigger their effects, or if you're a Kashtira player, being able to wipe your board so you can summon more Kashtiras, Dark Hole is really good for certain decks. My favorite thing about Dark Hole will always be destroy Baby Sarasaurus in a normal monster for your Lost World, but I don't think anybody's really counting who has the better usage of Dark Hole here, right? Right? Dark Ruler No More has easily emerged itself as a goated Yu-Gi-Oh card. Outside of Tier Limit's Crime, there's no way to start Dark Ruler No More, and if you just so happen to have the Tier Limit's Crime, as well as a Tier Limit and a full board, well, we weren't winning anyways. Dino Wrestler Pankratops has been known as a fairly good Yu-Gi-Oh card, but as far as main decking this card, I feel like you have to have some other utility with it just attack over a monster and destroy. Maybe if you search it, abuse its level 7 status or something like that, it would be a pretty good card, but for right now, could be better because destroying cards isn't always priority on our list. I mean, unless it includes our own cards too, because you know, Dark Hole. Evenly Matched is in such an interesting spot because it does require you to give up your battle phase, but this card outright breaks so many Yu-Gi-Oh boards, and as long as you aren't field spell reliant, it's almost always typically live. My guys, tell me you used the secret sauce and have set Evenly Matched and used it. Forbidden Chalice is a quick play spell card that can be activated during either player's turn, the damage step, and can boost monsters. I think it's kind of underrated. From what I can think of, this is the only monster effect negation card that you can use on your turn to stop monsters like Kid Kalos. That's kind of good. I mean, hey, being able to use a card proactively and defensively, I gotta give it to him. I think that this card is amazing in the right situation. The Forbidden Drip Big Dogs. This card has been seeing a spike in popularity into this format. It's been a pretty good card to play. I'm gonna put it in GOATed. Despite cards like Dimensional Fissure and Dimension Shifter being this card's ultimate enemy, it's still really good to be able to break your opponent's board because more often than not, the decks that you're playing this card against don't play Dimension Fissure and Dimension Shifter anyways. I mean, come on guys, let's be real. If you're playing those cards, you got a big helmet on right now. You're not activating mini cards. Hey, look, man, I'm just here to call a Glue Eater a Glue Eater. I'm going to put a Harpy's Feather Duster in the right situation. I don't think that it's a bad card by any means, but if you are playing Harpy's Feather Duster, that means that you're weak to certain cards like Dimensional Fissure, or also you just really don't like back row decks. Duster doesn't have the versatility to be used on both players' turns, which can actually come up a lot, being able to stop some of those important cards before your opponent can use them. Gamsil, the Sea Turtle Kaiju. Guys, if you're playing this card, you lose it. Why would I want to stop one of my opponent's cards when I can stop 2? Kaijus aren't necessarily terrible, it's just that they normally don't do enough. Kashtira Fenrir has actually been exactly where we thought it was. It's a really, really good Yu-Gi-Oh card, but it can actually be argued that it's just sauce. The card is completely dead if you already have monsters on your side of the field. It's also pretty easy to play around since there's a trigger effect and activates in a new chain. It's a good card, just not for every single Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Kiriko the Divine Carnate. Oh my god. Okay, look, I really want to put Kiriko in the sauce, but I think it does require the correct situation. I think that the card is great, but it's best placed in a deck that can afford to force your opponent to use multiple monster effects so you can tribute them all off and summon this bad girl. Not every single Yu-Gi-Oh deck could afford that luxury, and that's why I have it in the right situation. Next is Lava Golem, one of my all-time favorite Yu-Gi-Oh cards. At the cost of putting Joey in a cage, you get to be sauce. The only reason why this card isn't goated is because some decks need their normal summon, but hey, yo, Kaijus? Lava Golem? Lightning Storm gives you the versatility to be able to destroy all of your opponent's attack position monsters and all of your opponent's spells and trap cards. To be honest with you guys, if Harpy's Feather Duster was at 3, it would definitely be in the could be better, but since most players are playing Lightning Storm to be able to destroy back row, then it's in the right situation. What's really crazy about Lightning Storm is what makes Alpha Master of the Beast so great, because players are summoning monsters in defense position to dodge Lightning Storm. That makes Alpha amazing, but at the same time, it makes Lightning Storm not as good because you're not going to be able to hit a lot of attack position monsters. I mean, right now, we really don't want to destroy monsters anyways, and that's why I got to put the Raigeki in the could be better. Never would I have thought that I would have Dark Hole over Raigeki. They effectively do two totally different things. Keep in mind, Dark Hole has the versatility of destroying your own monsters. I never thought I would ever say that. But hey, sometimes you want your monsters clapped. I mean, if they die, they die. And sometimes you want them to die. Super Polymerization is crazy right now. A lot of people are playing around it. I feel that if your Yu-Gi-Oh deck can play cards to help facilitate Super Polymerization, it's a pretty good card. Now, to be honest, I would have put it in could be a better place, but then I have to remember decks like Invoked or Despia, decks that can actually abuse Super Polymerization. They doing their thing. Triple Tactics talent was used to counter hand traps at one point in time. Now hand traps are almost non-existent, and we're using this to be able to counter monster effects of our opponent's main strategy. I mean, this card is good going first, good going second. It's one of the most versatile cards in the game. It is a goated card. Twin Twisters is actually in a really interesting spot, being able to destroy cards like Dimensional Fissure, but then also being able to hit field spells, which are really important. And then, of course, there's that casual back row deck or Fluunderreese that plays enough cards for you to hit consistently. I gotta say that this card's pretty good now. Typically, by no means I would want to give up cards from my hand, but if you're playing cards like Kashtira Fenrir in your hand or Alpha Master of the Beast, cards that return economy back into your hand, then I mean, kind of free. Imagine gaining Kashtira Fenrir's effect to be able to search another Fenrir, getting the effect to banish, and then still being able to destroy spells and trap cards. I think I finally figured out the problem with Ultimate Slayer. I've been saying that this card is completely bananas, but I understand. Ultimate Slayer is in the could be better category. Allow me to explain why. Ultimate Slayer is good enough to be a sauce or goated Yu-Gi-Oh card. It can out almost any card in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game at the cost of your extra deck. Because you need to play an Exceed, a Synchro, a Link. Because you need to play an Exceed, a Synchro, a Link, in a Fusion, and more often than not, your deck already because you need to play an Exceed, Synchro, Link, and Fusion, something that not a lot of decks can actually do. And typically your deck needs as many slots as possible to be able to play. You're essentially playing at least 4 dead cards in your extra deck, will leave you at a disadvantage. Now, if you can get past that, then Ultimate Slayer is a god Yu-Gi-Oh card. But until then, I mean, yeah, that does suck. Ultimate Goddess of the Closed World, Goth Mommy is the sauciest Link 5 monster in the game right now, especially if you just summon monsters like crazy or can make IP Masquerena with ease. Being able to link off your opponent's monster, yeah, that's pretty good. And lastly, of course, is Great Beast of the Sky. Please hear my cry. I have to put this card in the could be better, unfortunately. Allow me to explain. Yes, Winged Dragon Ra tributes off 3 of your opponent's monsters and gives them a hefty ball boy. The problem with this is, this card's almost really hard to get rid of yourself. Like, yo, seriously, if you can get rid of Winged Dragon Ra's Fear Mode, it's great, especially if you don't need your normal summon. But if you can't, you just gave them a monster to link off with. And a lot of times, they're going to link off with it. Off the top of my head, some of the better decks you want to give Ball Boy to, Sprite and Tearlament can easily link this card off. Again, some of the other decks is like, yo, I don't even think they put 3 monsters for you to Ball Boy on. And that is all that I have for what do I think are the most powerful board breakers in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. Of course, if you disagree, go ahead and let me know down below in the comment section. Where did I get wrong? As also, let me know if I missed some board breakers. I know I don't have mind control here, but it could be to set the same about Change of Heart. I was really struggling to figure out some other board breaker cards we can put on here. Until then, go ahead and check out these other videos, as I'll catch you on the next one.